All Things Beer, episode number 3. In this episode, we're going to be having a bit of a look at temperature control of fermenters, how you can heat them and how you can cool them, and the ways which I do it. Also, it wouldn't be an episode on All Things Beer if we didn't try a beer. So we'll do that also. Here's your traditional fermenter that you'd normally use. Got the airlock on the top, seal inside of here. It's got some handles there so you can lift it up without sucking in air. I've put a thermo well inside of mine, so I can put a thermocouple inside, check the internal temperature. I then put a heat band around the outside because it's freezing in Melbourne at the moment to keep the beer warm. And between 18 to 22 degrees, you'll find that even if you put it to 18 or 20, it'll naturally rise as the fermentation increases over the first couple of days. It'll normally increase maybe 1 degree, 2 degrees. Can't show you the other fermenter that I've got at the moment, the Fermzilla, but I've got a bit of a video and we'll play it right now. Bought the Fermzilla because I found that some of the hoppy beers that I was doing weren't retaining some of the hoppy flavour. I was just using the traditional carboys, like these, which are pretty good for, let's say, a stout or a blonde ale. So I've switched up to the Fermzilla now. Put my dry hops in here, I can release them. I put carb caps on, top and bottom. Comes with a nice valve on the side here to segregate the yeast and remove it later on. Comes with a dip tube and a float, so you're drawing all of your nice fresh beer off the top. Maintaining temperature control of a fermenter doesn't need to be a difficult thing. I use quite a simple system. I put a heat band around my fermenter, and then I put a thermocouple in the side of my fermenter. I use temperature control probe. I put the probe inside. I set my temperature controller to what I require, so 20 degrees. It's around about normal for what I like to ferment at. You can go up and down, push the set button, and then you'll see the heat light on here would come on, which means that the heat band here will come on, start heating up the work till it gets to 20 degrees, at which point it'll cut out. This is all good for winter, but when it comes to summertime, when you need to cool it down, you use the other port in the side of here called cooling, and then I just use a fan. I mount a fan this distance away. I put a wet towel around my fermenter and I just wet it maybe once a day, once every 2 days, depending on what the temperature is. This will cool it down substantially. It works the same as an evaporative air conditioner or a swampy, and I've had no problems with funky off smells from it being too warm. I do a very similar thing with my Fermzilla, except I just have to tape the thermocouple to the side of my Fermzilla because I don't have a thermo well. I think you can get one mounted into the top, into the carb caps, but I don't have that facility yet. It's just not something which I've purchased. Right, next part of episode number 3. I think we need to critique a beer and give a little bit of feedback. Right, here's the beer I'd like to have a bit of a taste of today. It's called Single Fin Summer Ale. It's by Gage Roads Brewing. Dry hopped, unfiltered, 1.2 standard drinks, 4.5% ABV. Smells nice. I've got it on here as a summer ale. I'm expecting quite light colour. I'm expecting quite a refreshing taste. As you can see from there, carbonation's fantastic. I've chosen to put this beer in what I normally like to put my pale ales in. I think it just, it's a nice glass to hold and it accentuates the good smells. The colour, I'm going to give the colour about a 6 EBC. So it's kind of a light, pale, golden type colour. Carbonation, as I said, looks fantastic. It's worked really good. It's medium to high carbonation, which is good for like an ale or a pale ale. The smell, it's quite difficult actually to pick the smell. I'm gonna go with it's fruity, kind of like maybe a stone fruit. Yeah, maybe stone fruit, that type of thing, maybe apricot. You can perceive a little bit of alcohol taste, but not a lot. Very refreshing, very fruity. Perceived bitterness is very low. I would say that the bitterness is around 10 to 12. So yeah, very, very easy drinking. Can't quite put my nose on what hops are in there. The mouthfeel is good. Mouthfeel's low to moderate. And the temperature, I've actually got this one quite cold today. It's about 4 degrees. And you can see it's not exactly a hazy beer, but it's not exactly 100% clear either. Overall, good beer. I give it an 8 out of 10. It's nice. Well done, single fin. You make a good pale ale or a good summer ale. I'm going to do one of my favourites today. It's the Zetho Tropical Haze. Definitely like this beer. It's very easy drinking, very sessionable beer. 5% ABV. Fantastic colour. I'm going to go with about an 8. It's quite dark. You can't taste the alcohol in it. For a 5% beer, it tastes really good. Fantastic head on it. Carbonation's great. Look at that, a little close up. I'm going to go with the bitterness is quite low. I'm going to say about a 20 or an 18 IBU. It's got a little bit of sweetness about it to counteract the bitterness of the hops. Overall, I really have to give it a solid 8.5 to 9 out of 10. Just for the fact that it's a great session of beer. It's one of my favourites. Good all-rounder. As for mouthfeel, I think mouthfeel's on the money. No doubt about it. Spot on. I could smash these all day long. Yeah, all day long. Great. Temperature, I made mine cold. 2 degrees, it's freezing. But it's awesome, love it. Negatives, not going to give it any. Really not. It's great. Go get some. Next beer I wanted to do a bit of a taste test of was Everyday Ale by Wayward Brewing. Love the can. Kind of symbolises, hey, I'm going out in the bush to have a beer, leave me alone. Brewed for adventure. Independent brewery of Australia, easy drinking Australian pale ale. 4.2% ABV, 32 IBUs. You know, just giving it away. I don't even have to guess. Look at that, that's mint. Check that out. Colour, about 7 SRM. Smell green, love it. Carbonation spot on, look at that, that's good. Smell, kind of piney. Oh yeah, you can kind of taste the higher bitterness in it, but it really kind of counteracted it with the sweetness. There's no yeasty flavour in it. Mouthfeel's mint. That's really good. Temperature, I've got it nice and cold. It's freezing outside, but I decided to have a cold beer because it's nice and warm in the house. So I've got no negatives to that. That's a great beer. That's spot on. For a pale ale, I give it a good 9 out of 10. I reckon maybe the only thing that could do with is just a bit more of that hoppy aroma, but I don't think that's what they've gone for. I think they've gone for a low pine style hop aroma and just accentuated the malt characteristics of the beer to bring out that body and that flavour in it. And I reckon that's fantastic. I wish I could get more out of the can. Yeah, well done, Wayward Brewing. Really good. I'll be back. Well, that's it for episode number 3, everyone. Thanks for watching. Remember, subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks very much. Cheers.